Hi, my name is Karen Hayes. I'm the CEO of Guide Dogs Victoria. I'm very proud to be a member of the IWFA and be able to share with you a wonderful experience that I enjoyed at one of the international conferences in 2012 when I attended as a guest the Montreal conference.
My name's Stephanie Charles. I'm a Managing Director in Investment Banking at Credit Suisse, and I focus on retail, consumer, healthcare and chemical sectors. I similarly had the very fortunate experience of attending the Washington conference in 2011, and the theme for that conference was balance and power. It was a very topical theme because at the time it was in the middle of the Arab Spring experience, and there was a lot of political instability across the world and a lot of changing fortunes with companies around the world, particularly in relation to China. And I think that is pretty symptomatic of the themes that the IWF choose. Is they are very current, very challenging, and appeal to quite a broad range of people. It's not specific to, certainly not specific to females, and it's not specific to a country.
At the Montreal conference, the theme was making water sustainable and accessible to every person around the world, and it was an amazing opportunity to hear stories from all over the world about some of the challenges associated with getting access to water. Really, the atmosphere of the conference is quite amazing because you find yourself in a room full of some of the most powerful women in the world, but it's just so welcoming and so engaging, and everybody's accessible to you. And there's just such a wonderful spirit of collaboration in the room, and people really just walking up to you at will, just to introduce themselves and find out where you're from and what you do, and share their stories, which is just an amazing opportunity to meet some pretty incredible women.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think there's a couple of factors that I think lead to that result. I think it's firstly, it's not an industry-based conference, which many of us will have been familiar with going to, where people are there perhaps with more specific networking objectives in mind, and everyone probably knows each other a little better in those sort of forums, or knows who's who. I think you go to this conference and there's over 1,000 women in the room from 30 different countries, so no one can go there but with the expectation of wanting to meet new people and hear new stories. And I think that is really what makes it such a sharing, relaxed.
It's very unique.
Yeah, it's very unique, and people actually go with the objective of meeting someone new, ideally from a new country and from a completely different industry, and ideally helping other people connect that they might think should know each other.
I was very fortunate to have Julie Paquette, who is Canada's first astronaut, sitting to my right, and she was just an amazing woman. To listen to her story of life at such a young age, she was truly inspirational. And on the left-hand side of me, I had the president of Harry Winston Diamonds, which wouldn't we all like to meet him.
In the program I was in, there was a captain in the Navy, there was someone that was sitting in the House of Reps in the Israel Parliament, there was a scientist, there was a philanthropist, there was an inventor.
There was a president of a country.
Yeah, and we had an author. So just terrifically refreshing breadth of people that you get to associate, which is quite exhilarating, really.
Exactly.
When you come from a more narrow lens in your work environment.
What really was highlighted for me was the incredible diversity that exists within IWF. So the people that I met were not only business people, but I met film directors, I met prima ballerinas, I met high court judges.
Probably I got more of a flavour being a US-based conference, because of course they alternate with one US and then one non-US conference every year. We had quite a heavy flavour of US representatives. There were a lot of professors from Harvard. There were some amazing politicians that spoke. They were clearly industry-leading speakers on every topic that we saw. That was really, really impressive. I think it's actually very interesting, the different forums that they have throughout the conference. I participated in at least 4 different formats. They had some auditorium lectures where there's hundreds of women in a room with a guest speaker on stage. There are a lot of specific breakout discussion sessions. There were quite a number of panel discussions where it was all about interaction between the panel members on a particular topic. I saw a debate between 2 speakers, which was very interesting. And then there was also the dine around dinner, which is another really important aspect of the conference, not only to meet people from different countries, different industries, but also to further the learning on the topic. So there's still a lot of very guided discussion around the topic even at the dinner, but it's a truly wonderful experience when you're invited into these host cities' homes to sit with 20 women who none of whom know each other, and you walk away at the end of the night with having had a lovely time.
A very personal experience.
Very personal, and I actually kept in email contact with quite a few of these women after my dine around, which was that's pretty special. That's hard to, I don't know how else you go and orchestrate that through any other way than through the IWF.
Exactly. We were given the opportunity to do a behind-the-scenes tour of Cirque du Soleil, which was amazing, and because the founder of Cirque du Soleil came from Montreal, and so we saw an aspect of Cirque du Soleil that nobody would normally have access to.
In advance, they organised what cultural events you'd like to go to. We toured the White House, but there was a range of things around Washington that you could go and see, and that's all organised in advance. Any other things that you particularly would like to go and see in the host city that perhaps may not be on the agenda, they reach out to you on that topic as well, and you can arrange access to pretty much whatever it takes your fancy. That's what I found really, I suppose, encouraging and made me feel very optimistic was they had a youth panel where they had about 10 people between about 14 and 18. And they were getting them to talk about the things that they had done as obviously very young people. And they'd all done amazing things, whether that was from technology, computers aspect of life, philanthropy, science, all types of areas of focus. And what was possible for them because of either their access to technology, they could be doing things in their bedroom that we wouldn't have dreamt about doing in our bedroom, when we were kids, but how enabled they were as the youth of today, and what that how exciting that was for the world going forward in terms of what that young generation now will be able to deliver to the world over the next couple of decades. And really they were quite mind-blowing, and it was really exciting. It's a wonderful time out to think about yourself and where you're at, but in still a very high learning environment.
You've had time to just sort of think outside the square on a few things that's outside of your comfort zone, and then look at, well, how can I take these learnings back into my own environment and have some kind of influence in this area back in my own country.
But it's actually not a conference that focuses on women's issues or women's particular take on topics. It's actually just a very well-educated, highly informed debate on current topics, with women having a lot of input, but there are just as many male speakers as there are female speakers. And it's more just about the quality of the discussion than it being a forum for advancing women particularly.
I was just blown away by the calibre of women that I met and the enormous diversity of where they came from, their backgrounds, their countries that they came from, the challenges that they have in their own countries, not only from a business perspective, but also from a gender perspective, from an environmental perspective, just some of the issues that they shared and the stories that they shared. I guess that was the thing that really blew me away, and I just wonder how else you could possibly get access to that calibre of women in any other forum. I don't know that that's available any other way.
Look, above all, it's actually incredibly fun, and so I'd encourage It's a great thing to do with other women that you know, as well as the opportunity to learn and meet new people. It's a great thing to do with some friends. So I'd certainly encourage people to sort of reach out around the membership to see who's going, and then arrange to sort of get to know who's going and have some time to spend together to get to know our members in Australia better. But also to sort of have some buddies on the ground over there is really good fun.
Yeah, I agree with you. And even though you might go with some buddies from Australia, the fact is you're going to come home with buddies from all over the world, because that's just the whole environment and the spirit of the conference is all about how do you build your networks and your friendships in a very collaborative way all around the world.